Child in the D, and one of our import D men will sit out, and we'll see how it goes from there. But something definitely has to give one way or the other. It can't keep on going on. It's so bad some games. Like, it looks like they've got puck-shaped holes in their sticks. I mean, it's almost as if they go through their sticks some of the passing. And the worst part is, it's all in our own zone. You can't afford all those giveaways and sloppy plays in your own zone. You're just any team, whether you're playing Edinburgh, Cardiff or Belfast, you're just inviting trouble and you're inviting goals against.
Now, we're not going to shy away from this. We don't usually do. We've not really been too critical in players in general, but I mean, I'll put you both in the spot and I'll answer it as well. If we're right that they're going to bring Rosehill in and put him in a D, who's dropping out, Graeme?
For me, it would have to be Baldwin.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Graeme? Sorry, Raymond.
I agreed 100%. It's got to be Baldwin.
Oh dear, that's a hat trick. Yeah, I'm in agreement as well. I don't know if it just seems to be whenever I look up, and it just always seems to be poor Baldy that's the one that's fluffing the pass. Or anyway, there we go. I
think in fairness to him though, if we're naming names, you can't. For me, the only D man that I've got any kind of faith in at the moment is Sully, and it's starting to wear off a little bit on him as well, I have to say. But, let's be honest about it. Scott Arson, he went through a bit of a rough patch last season. He's going through, for me anyway, a real rough patch this season. We know that he can change that from one game to the next. And, whether it's a bullet from the blue line or just one of these game-saving poke checks or whatever, we know that he can do it for us when it really matters. But, I think, okay, Baldwin, we're throwing a little bit under the bus here, but, I think Scott Arson's been well under par. I think Quast is good coming forward, but not what we needed, because we need a stay-at-home D-man. And in that department, I would suggest that he's lacking. I think the whole D as a unit at the moment is just not right. We don't have that solid, dependable player that you can rely on to not make any mistakes, and the kind of D-man that ostensibly you don't really remember from a game because they didn't make any mistakes. I remember most of our D-men for all the wrong reasons after most games, and that's what we're missing right now. It's a real shame.
I think the only person that kind of qualifies for that, I'd say, is Carlson. I don't personally notice him in our own zone. I notice him going forward when he's trying to make plays, but defensively, I think we give a wee bit of credit where it's due as well. I think he's been quietly good at the back recently.
Yeah, he probably has been, I hate to say this, the best of a bad bunch. But what you're talking about, Graeme, for me is a Wedderburn or a McKeever. That's what we don't have. I think you're spot on. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's something they're going to have to look at for next season. But I think if we start talking about D and what we think and what we think the club should do next year, Ray, that's a whole new programme. So we'll skip that one, because that's like a conference programme, that will last an hour. Where did we get to? Did we get to commentary?
No, not quite.
Not yet.
Yeah, that was the last game last night. First period, Haywood opened the scoring and Bhutan equalised. Second period goal from Beca restored that lead. Peacock opened the third period scoring before Signer pulled another one back for the Blaze, and Mike Hammond made sure by scoring the Clans fourth. Kind of like the Storm game for me. It was a bit of not a non-event, it's not the right word, but we'll take the 2 points. It was a pretty flat atmosphere. Coventry were a shadow of the team that looked as if the way they played they did the last time when they scored 2 short-handed goals. I don't know if what's been going on down there. Was it just that we're better than we were the last time we played them, and we've negated a lot of the stuff they were trying to do the last time? Every day goes on social media about Ryan this, Ryan that. Are we selling Ryan short, Raymond, by maybe not giving him credit for correcting things that were going wrong in the past?
Well, look what he's done with Peacock recently, shift him on at the centre line, and there you go, three goals in 3 games. Yep. So I think when it comes to praise, I don't think Ryan gets his sort of just desserts that way. I think in terms of the Blaze, well, I don't think we could have played any worse we did the last time, so pretty much anything would have been an improvement. And I thought we were a good bit better. but that was albeit from a very low bar. And yeah, I agree as well. It was pretty flat, especially for most of that first period. And in fact, I think the only person that brought up the atmosphere, and not his intention, I'm sure, was Stefan Hogarth, which I'm sure we'll get onto a little bit.
We might. Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm going to touch on Peacock a wee bit, because I think he's getting a bit of a raw deal. A lot of people are saying, in social media again, you're seeing all this stuff. He's waste of age and not doing this, not doing that. You've got to compare him, and although he plays a different game and a different position to Ben Davies, he's essentially our top line Brit, if you like. He's our best Brit. And if you compare him, I mean, Davies, when was that? 2014-15. Davies was 9 goals and 22 assists. You'd expect him to get assists being a centre for 31 points. The following year he was 13 and 17 for 30 points. And if you're looking at Peacock this year, we're not finished the season yet, he's 11 and 11. I mean, he's not doing half bad. People will say we maybe want maybe a 20 goal scorer, but you've got to remember, this team nobody was scoring at the start of the season, and at home we've got an absolutely ridiculous record as far as goals per game are concerned this year. If you look at goals per game at home this year, we're 3.12, which is the lowest we have ever been, and that's including season 3. So you can't really blame guys individually if they're not getting the goals you thought they would get when the whole team's misfiring, Graeme, yeah?
Well, it's funny because when you look at our top line, and you could also Levitt's also been contributing points, although again, unfortunately, Alex has been a little bit off the boil just in the last few games. But it kind of shows you how little scoring there's been from elsewhere. When we've got a top line that's as productive as it is, and yet you're talking about that goals per game average being so poor. So I don't know. I mean, I had great expectations when Peacock came here, and I know he had far less ice time at Belfast, which is potentially part of the reason why he came over here. So I suppose with some limitations on expectations from that point of view. To me, he has been a disappointment up until recently. But, as Raymond's saying, Finner changing things around. All of a sudden the guys get 3 goals in 3 games. I'm really noticing him a lot more in games now. Listen, if the second half of this season is going to see him, turn around and be the player that we all, or most of us, hoped he would be, then great, no reason to complain. But, I can't look at it any other way. But as a fan of the guy, he has been a disappointment up until this point, up until recently anyway. So hopefully he has turned it around. But I think Finner's tactics have had a part to play in that.
Yep, and Raymond, I mean, obviously you brought Peacock up. What's your reading? And has it been a disappointment for you, or can you take the early part of the season and just think, well, the whole team weren't performing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, if you look at Peacock's past, I think he won, top EIHL Brit one year when Belfast won the title. 70 or 80 odd points he got that year, so he's set a very high standard for himself, and he hasn't quite hit those heights, albeit a lot of the team hadn't, especially at the start of the season as well. So yeah, I think he's been a bit of a disappointment in that regard, but as we've been saying, he really has picked up in recent times, so we can only hope that's him sort of turned the corner now. And it can't be that easy for him, because he's been in Belfast for a very long time, barring a wee stint away in Denmark, and it's easy to put down roots, whether it's physical roots or even psychological ones. It probably is a big change for him coming over to Glasgow after being there so long and being pretty much a part of the furniture then in Belfast. So a big change for him, but hopefully he can kick on and take it into the second year of his contract, where we'll see more of the Craig Peacock we've seen come high up in the scoring charts in the Elite League.
Yep, and going back into putting everybody on the spot, I mean, I'm not concerned about Craig Peacock being here next year at all. I'm actually looking forward to it, because, as you just said as well, Raymond, he's been playing a certain system. He's got to learn this new system. Next year, I think he can only get better. No concerns at all from me, Graeme.
No, I'd be happy to see him stay on. I'm picturing negotiations when perhaps he hasn't been quite as well. He's slightly underperformed, and that being reason to, we might not have the Ben Davies problem that we had at the end of last season. But no, I'd be happy to keep him on. No problems for me.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing as well. I mean, if you believe, and again, I'm stressing these are rumours, if you believe the rumours, Raymond, we're getting the money that Ben Davies was asking for was it's just not going to happen, really, was it? So, you're not exactly comparing light for light in that department, are you?
No, certainly not. It is like with these kind of rumours. Who knows what it is, what really happened in the background. It's the bottom line is, unfortunately, Ben Davies, he tried North America, he came back, but he went to the Blaze, and that's how these things turn out. We've seen it happen multiple times, but it's just the way things are, and you just need to deal with it the best we can. I don't think they've done bad out how that worked out in the end. We've got Craig Peacock and the Blaze have got Ben Davies, so It is what it is.
And we look at the scorers over the last 4 games. Hammond has been on absolute fire. 8 goals and 6 assists for 14 points in 4 games. Scott Pitt, 4 and 5 for 9. Becca's only scored one over the last 4 games with 7 assists for 8 points, and Peacock 3 and 1 for 4. The team in general have scored 19 goals, conceding 13. Power play 2 for 14, penalty kill 8 for 10. Next week we have the Flyers on Friday night at home. Now, the Stars and the Caps play at Dundee Ice Arena on Wednesday. Any loss by the Stars would mean that the Clan can take the conference title on Friday night with a regulation win. The conference is just about in the bag. I mean, it would take an absolute collapse for us not to get there now, Graeme. I know how much it means to you.
The seeding does.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, isn't it? Without the seeding, it really would be pointless, wouldn't it? But, what are you expecting? We've had the absolute Indian sign over the Flyers this year. But, all good things come to an end, and they're absolutely flying with a cracking win against Belfast the other night.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit concerned about that one. Yeah, we've had their number, but I think the way they're playing at the moment, I think our D is going to have to play the best it has done in a long time, because they are going to come out as 100 miles an hour for the full 60 minutes. And yeah, we just got to score more goals than them as well. That I've got a bit less concern about. But they've got, some of their players, and our old pal Brooksy, he is absolutely on fire right now. So I'm expecting a real tough game, and of course they'll be wanting to at least delay us winning that conference if we're in the position to do so on Friday. They will not want us to win the conference against them. So if we are in that position, they will do everything they can to stop it. I'm expecting a nice feisty encounter and very, very close. I can't see more than a goal in it.
Raymond?
Well, it could be a case of first one to score will end up winning. It could be a total another show of run and gun hockey. They've showed their defence isn't as almost as bad as ours of lately. They've conceded a lot of goals recently as well, but they've shown they're also extremely potent. So it could be a right barn burner with double digits in goals scored, and I wouldn't mind one of those kind of games. Forget these tight games and all the rest of it. There's barely any goals. Let's have a crapshoot here, and let's just come out on top. I think we can do it with the form our forwards have shown.
It's time for a weekly mugshot competition. As usual, we will put a picture of a current or former Clan player on Twitter. If you can identify that player, reply using the hashtag mugshot for a chance to win a limited edition Purple Army podcast mug. Okay, we put a wee question out on Saturday night after the game to say, is the Pitt, Beca and Hammond line the most potent in Clan history? Before we go on to talking about it ourselves, we'll go through some of the comments we got. Dave at Spiky D McG1, such a joy to watch that line. Eat, sleep, UK ice hockey. Without a doubt, the last few weeks have been outstanding. Kim Thompson at FBR_UK. Not been going to see the Clan long enough to answer, but it's been the best line and the most enjoyable to watch that I've seen. Raymond Monaghan, here we go, Raymond, I'm going to ask you now. Second only to the KGB line, we'll go into that in a minute. Doc Home, as usual, that line made tonight exciting. There would probably be there would probably have been another social media outcry if not for them. Elizabeth Brown, what about Keith Myers and Salters? Alistair Macaulay, Hammond has come into the team well now. Chick Samson, Kristanovic equals God, Galbraith equals God, and Bayrak equals God. I might not agree with the last one. Ewan Campbell, the standard is higher now. I think this line is better than the KGB. Stephen Clan, he's not on tonight, but he did tweet, just hope none of them hurt their pinky any time